Hello viewers, welcome to my channel Science to Technology. In today's show, Camera Tuesday, we're going to talk about Sony FE 50 to 150 f2.8 zoom lens. So let's dive deep into it. Now, you have to understand this sort of lens is a different beast, so to say. This is what we classify as flagship lens. Now, if you are familiar with lenses, you know there is a thing known as Holy Trinity. Now, Holy Trinity is a new development of lenses where it was like bright enough where you did not need to carry prime lenses with you. And be mindful, they existed from film era. And digital era, they got enough of a boost, enough of an improvement. They were like, you know what, unless you need to, you will be fine with these three lenses, have fun. And every company made it, basically Nikon, Sony, Canon, Panasonic, whatever have you. Every company launches their camera into market and they flush the market with f2.8 zoom lenses, Holy Trinity lenses. So it's almost like it's important lens for camera company, and company sells a lot of them and they refine a lot of, but it's like average. It's like everybody has it. So flagship, basically once people jumped into mirrorless ecosystem, because your flange distance, basically sensor and the rim of the lens started to come close, now mathematically a new option became available that you can make zoom lenses that is faster than f2.8. You can go as low as f1.8 or maybe even f1.5, mathematically speaking. Now, could this have been done in long ago, as in like film era? Of course. It was just too tedious, too convoluted, too complex. That's why. Like, it's not stopped by physics. It's just that all other things are like, brah, nah, you're pushing it too much. So once we jumped into mirrorless, then it's like, okay, something is possible now. So, but be mindful, because these things are flagship, meaning these are statement piece. These are like, hey, look what our new mirrorless camera can do, which you could not have done otherwise. They're like, yeah, they're very expensive, because company do not know whether these gonna sell like hotcakes or they're just like lol. So costs are ludicrously high, and they also have ludicrously high weight, because it's like physics is clear. You want large aperture, make larger glass is heavy. So it's one of those things. And Canon started this trend with 28 to 70 f2 at 2018. So basically, when Canon introduced their flagship lenses, they actually did not have any R mount cameras that were like GG awesome, but camera were good. So they were like, okay, how would people jump into it? It's like, okay, you already have EF lenses, put adapter, enjoy your R mount camera with all the lenses, and we have this flagship lens which is 28 to 70. Again, big, heavy, expensive, but it can give you something that other Holy Trinity lenses cannot give you. Like, this is not just like, oh, it's a different lens. No, like fundamentally it's one step ahead. So that was a trend setter, and again every company slowly started to release this 28 to 70 f2. Every company, not even a single company is like, what if we made it f24? Yeah, sorry, 24 to less than on that side. No, every company 28 to 70. So this time Sony is the first mover, meaning they were caught down with their pants. They did not have answer for this, even though they were 8 years earlier into the mirrorless. But this time Sony is like, we are the first mover. So 50 to 150 f2 is the first time any company, all the three major companies have launched it. So this is the Sony's flagship right now. There is nothing like, if you need this lens, there is no other ecosystem where you can go, I can go that and buy something. No, you have to guide into Sony. So that's a big thing. Now, penalty, this puppy is expensive. This puppy is $3,900. Like, damn. And in translation wise, it's a 3 lakh rupees 30,000, 3 lakh 30,000. I'm pretty sure it will be a bit more expensive or maybe even lower. But as of now, the price is not available in India, but it's idiotically expensive. And it's also hyper heavy. It's 1340 grams, meaning 1.3 kgs. This is heavy. So this is what we are talking about when we are talking flagship lens. There are other flagship lens also. For example, Sigma has one that is 28 to 45. Like, okay, that's a very little range. Yeah, that's f1.8. Zoom lens f1.8. Constant. And there's this Tamron, which again, everybody will compare with this, but practically it's not comparison. 35 to 150, f2 to f2.8. Like, this is the world that we are living in. Basically, back in my days, it was like, f2.8 constant, f2.8, but it drops. No, this is like, we drop to f2.8. We start from f2. But again, be mindful, this lens only goes to 40 with f2. The moment you zoom further than that, it drops to f2.8. So these are flagship lenses, like super bright, crossing that f2.8 barrier. So what we are dealing with here? Well, this puppy deletes background. Like there is no background, and bokeh is on a whole different level. Like this is the best photo I have seen, and you have to understand. F2.8 is good enough where you can, if you have eye in the focus, ears will be in focus, and this is like no, ears will slowly start to fade off, and if the angles are correctly right, you can make sure everything else fades away. Like whoever the photographer is, they actually put some time into it, because again, if a ring was like, you can see, watch into Instagram, the large resolution is available. If you like look into the full size, fingers are out of focus. Like that happens at f2, like that's how shallow depth of field that is. So you could have done this with a prime, but you will not have gotten the convenience of framing that a zoom lens gives you. And because this is a constant, it's not like, hey, you experiment as much as you want. And here's the ironic part: they have shifted this basically from um, 24 to 70 and 70 to 200. They are like, okay, 70 to 200, what if we offset it? What if we pull it back, basically go from the wide to milder tele? So it has a higher range, by the way. It has 3x range compared to 70 to 200 that has only 2.8x. So Sony did improve the range also. So it's 3x and much on the wider side. Why? Because again, I'm pretty sure Sony engineers would have figured out, hey, salespeople, which lenses are selling a lot? It's like, okay, a lot of people are buying basically 50 prime lenses. Okay, we must touch 50. So 50, 90, 75, all of those lenses are selling a lot. They're like, okay, it makes sense, offset it. So instead of 70 to 200, they're offsetting it such a way, even a little bit of marginal increase in the range, that you can do almost everything related to a wedding with this one lens. And many of the prime lenses that mostly people buy, this lens is like, I got this. I got this. And what will be the effect on your photography? Well, the first thing is ISO will go down and a background will delete. Now, here's another aspect. If you are dealing in a low light scenario, the ISO noise that happens, because again, there is not enough photons falling onto your sensor is screaming. It's like, what the hell? You boost it up. But if you have this lens, the background in low light scenario is actually clean. It's clean. Like this image is the best. Again, watch into Sony's website. They have a whole catalog of the photos and with all the specification, like how it's shot and all that. This sort of like bokeh, that isolation in low light scenario, it's very difficult to do with Holy Trinity. This lens is like, I got you. And it's, be mindful, f2.8 to f2, it's one whole step better, not a little better. It's not like, okay, ISO 400 goes to ISO 300. No, ISO 400 drops to ISO 200. So it's a full step better. So that's the whole point. And because again, the heft, it has integrated collar with the feet, and be mindful, all the weight everybody is saying is without the feet. So it's weird things. So it is a lens very specific, mostly wedding photographers, portraiture photographers, those sort of people will love it. And be mindful, almost every camera will give you very good compression and background separation if you zoom it in. Like 200 is very good. Like you're not gonna notice the background separation difference in 200 versus 200 at f2, but you will notice 50 f2 versus 50 f2.8. That's a night and day difference. So that's the whole point. You can have the luxury of getting close to your subject, so more of them fills up the sensor and still have butter background. Like there is nothing, there's just butter. So this is why people are excited about this lens, for those of you who can afford it. Now, what about performance? Well, it does not have IBUS and all that, but they did not skimp out on other things. For example, the autofocus, they flexed on this puppy. This puppy has 4 linear motors, and basically it is so fast that unless you have A9 Mark III, you will not know how fast this is. Because be mindful, A9 Mark III can actually pulse the lenses more than 120 hertz. Whereas, because again, it can do at 120. If your camera barely goes to 30, it does not make a difference. But this camera is like, I got you. At that camera speed, it's like, oh, it is faster. Like, be mindful, we are reaching a point where it's like, that top 1% of a 1%. Most of the Sony G Master lens will be good enough for almost all camera. Only if you put all of them in A9 Mark III and do like 50 and like infinity and closer focus, then you can notice this is much faster. So simply meaning, if you buy this, you do not have to worry about it. Meaning, unless something broke, this lens would be so fast that you do not have to think about it. and it is super sharp at f2 and even better at f2.8. Now here's the deal, this is a mathematical engineering problem where it's like if you make a lens, it will always be bit better if you just stop it down a little bit from its maximum. Like I do not know why it happens, but I've never seen any lens where it's like, this lens is f1.8, it's awesome at f1.8. No, it's like it's awesome at f1.8, drop it down a little bit, like let's say f2, and it's like now it's super hot. It's like it will always happen somehow. But even at f2, it's more than sharp enough. You will not be like, okay, it's not sharp enough. No, you're good. This is more than fast enough. You're good. And even better at f2.8. Now, scientifically understanding, the vignetting goes away at f2.8, meaning the corner actually have enough light that it renders it properly. So corner sharpness is also there, and at center is like GG, like done. Like people might return this lens because it's so sharp. Because you have to understand, people might say, like a lot of people have say, oh, I'll rather have a sharp lens and then make it soft in the software. Yeah, that's not how it works. The organic nature of lens diffusion is different compared to however manipulation you do on photoware. It always looks blotchy, so to say. It looks like bleh. It loses its 3D depth. And that's why people buy glimmer glass on cinema shoot-ups. Like you do not want to go into post-production and it's like, okay, let's soften it out. No, you want lens to be soft or lens to be sharp. You never want to be like, okay, I'm in post, I'm gonna do it. So some people will return this lens because it's too goddamn sharp. But again, most of the time you do not have to worry about it. And focus breathing, again, Sony has been doing a piss poor job recently of focus breathing, because they're like, hey, our camera can do focus breathing compensation, so who cares? It's like, make a better lens. And again, those are the primary difference between a broadcast lens and cinema lens and a photographic lens. Photographic lenses compromises these things for that. It does have almost negligible focus breathing, meaning it is good enough that if you put it on a FX series camera, you can use this as a cinema grade shoot up. And most of the time people are, oh, I have to zoom in a little bit so I can crop out. No, you're good. That's a really big commitment. And I think that's the reason why this has so many lens elements. They're like, no, we're gonna compensate for it. If you ever watched a broadcast lens with like why they have such a big box, it has so many lenses and so many motors moving the lenses back and forth to compensate for those things. So they are doing similar thing here. And weather sealed, again, at this sort of price, you're gonna expect weather sealing. It has weather sealing, meaning if you get caught in the rain, you do not have to worry about it. Don't go into swimming pool with it, but more than enough time, you will be fine. And internal zooming also makes it far more suitable for gimbal. And I have to respect that Sony is not tempted to, okay, our lens is compact for traveling. No, it's one of those things that you think it's a good idea, but it's not. You always want your lens to be like, okay, stay at this, especially if you have to touch gimbals. So that's there. And another aspect, no teleconverter support, because the optic strain is so huge, the back end is filled up with lens. And again, it's a correctional optics. It's not just like, okay, it's a glass. No, it's actual lens there, meaning you can't insert a tube inside, so you can't have telephoto. Meaning if you are like, hey, I would have really loved f2 at 200, it's like, no, you can't. Like, okay, what if I put teleconverter, at least get the reach? No, you can't. And yes, teleconverter does drop your aperture, but at least you can do that with 70 to 200, where you plonk it in, go to like I think 350 or something like that, and have aperture drop to 4. F4 is still good nowadays, especially in full frame with a modern sensor. It's good. So that is a big ouch, where there's like, you can't use teleconverters. So no teleconverter, and filter diameter is 95 millimeter. I'm like, holy damn. Meaning this is almost like Ferrari, where it's like, if you have to ask the price, you can't afford it. It's like, oh, you're buying this lens, don't worry about other costs, man. If you can afford this lens, relax, have fun. So performance is like, we do not need to talk about it. It's like, it is a flagship product. And again, Sony has learned a lot from their first iterations. So it is genuinely good, genuinely as light as it can be, physically speaking. And it's just good, because be mindful, this was the weight of Sony's 70 to 200 f2.8 Mark 1. But Mark 2 is 300 grams lighter. So again, Sony have learned a lot, even with their 72 to 24 to 70 f2.8 Mark 1 versus Mark 2. Much better, much more improved. This is like latest and greatest. So fundamentally, Sony really did a best job. That's why there is no point discussing about optics character. Either you like it or you don't like it. Again, there's nothing wrong with you if you do not like it, because again, it's about personal feeling. It's about that resonance. Does it resonate with you or not? And again, I can guarantee you, at least few model photographer will buy it and it's like, nope, just return it. Again, you may not want to put a glimmer glass if you already have so many optics there. It's like, yeah, might as well buy something that is a bit more soft. So for whom this is? Well, if you make a lot of money from your shoot, basically, if this sort of value, this sort of price can be recovered in, like, I do 2-3 shoots, and it's, even if it's they're a little bit better, I'll get far more commissioned work. Yeah, go YOLO on it. For majority of people, stay away from this. This is like, no, the likelihood of you justifying the cost. Again, if you want to flex, you want to have fun, or you have like GG money, go YOLO on it. But for majority of people, as a tool of work, nah. And so what's the alternative? Well, for most of the people, because we have Mark II variant of this, 70 to 200 f2.8, and it also has IBUS in the, as in like image stabilization, meaning if you are doing a really fast photography and you're really shaky, this, like, I got you, fam. So it's really good, and it's 2.2 lakhs only. That means 1 lakh less, meaning you can buy, well, even a hyper expensive teleconverter you can buy. So you can buy teleconverter and this lens still have money left. So fundamentally, and be mindful, 2.8 nowadays with modern sensor, BSI's technology and all that jazz, it's good. It's good. It's not like, whoa, it's so garbage, I need much larger light. Nah. It's like, we good. Because we are competing so much and pixel peeping so much, so we're like, no, it has to be better. But yeah, it's not needed. So fundamentally, for majority of people, this lens would serve them better. And again, even this also has quad X linear sensor, so this is also fast enough. So more than enough, you will be happy fun with. If you need f2, buy prime lenses, because technically I can say buy this 35 to 150, but it's only 35 to 40 that is the zoom part, f2. The moment you cross that, it drops from f2 to f2.8. again, it goes to, I think, f2.2. So yeah, for most people that will be there, but you might as well buy this lens, f2.8. The difference will not be night and day. It's like, or if you really need to, just buy a prime. And at this price, it's like, buy A7C Mark II. That's it. You still have some money left for this lens. So the price is just too bonkersly high. It's, again, basically, it's for those people who love that extra edge, where it's like, no, you can't replicate what I have. It's like, it's one of those things. Again, if you make enough money, go YOLO on it. But majority of people, it's not a good value. But this is far more easily digestible, will give you better just flexibility. And again, the moment you touch sports, this is like, yeah, no. And again, this lens is also sharp enough, fast enough. And be mindful, at 200, this will give you compression that this cannot replicate it. This can give you background blur, but this, like, compress it. So there is still some unique point. And the moment you add this, you can even do cricket, football also with this. So there are still niche, like, actual reason to buy this, not just like, oh, I am poor. No, you will actually get some useful stuff out of it. So for most people, stay away from this, go into this. If you really need that, you can try into this, but please look into that aperture shrinking chart, so you can be comfortable. Because if you are in the middle of the range and most of the time it's f2.8, might as well buy a Trinity lens and just relax, have lightweight lens and enjoy the fun. So for majority of people, stay away. For some people who have more than enough money, go YOLO. So this was my presentation on Sony's new flagship lens of 50 to 150 f2 lens. Hopefully you have liked it, learned from it. In that case, please click the like button, share it amongst a friend. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I urge you to press dislike, press it twice to show me extra disappointment. Please leave a comment, because I do try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free, and as always, thanks for watching.